Welcome to a special edition of the Local Anxiety Podcast. My name is James Kasha. Today I want to kind of break down my setup, how I started with the podcast, from the primitive nature of just using my phone all the way up until using my better microphone right here, to then eventually upgrading to my Rode mic, which I'm currently using right now. I kind of want to take you guys on a journey of like how I started with this and how primitive it was right at the beginning. This proves that anybody can do this, and it just takes some simple steps. The beginning is a little rocky, but I assure you it is pretty easy and straightforward once you get the hang of it. So the first thing that I did, I just started using my phone to record everything. And maybe the sound wasn't the best, but that's totally fine because there's this great app called the Anchor.fm app. It allows you to even record through the app, through your phone. And you can upload it right there and there. And at the beginning, for me, it was me trying to find out what was my message, what was I talking about, what was my podcast about. So I just grabbed my phone one day and I just started to ramble. And I just threw it up there, cold turkey. And so that was the beginning of the journey. And it's that simple, folks. It really is that simple. You just need to just start. And that is your jumping off platform. And so the Anchor FM app is very intuitive and self-explanatory. It's something I still use. I kind of throw the audio up of my podcast still on there to this day. You can pre-schedule episodes. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can upload your own custom art for your episode. You can label them by season or by number, anything you want. And eventually, if you get on there and get a big enough following, you can even add sponsorship on there, which is kind of cool. So that was the first part of the journey. And in that journey, I kind of was still trying to find out a way of where to record from. Currently, right now in my home, I'm in a basement suite. So trying to find the right place that has good sound quality or that you're comfortable in, because that also is another struggle sometimes, is you're trying to find out a good space where you can be comfortable and not self-conscious of someone else hearing you talk. So that takes a while to get used to too. But like you said, the more that you do it, the more easier it becomes. So for me, that was a bit of a struggle, but then I eventually started sitting in my living room and recording with my phone, and after about 5 episodes in, I kind of wanted to start evolving a little bit more. I want to improve the sound quality. And so I graduated to, thank God I had these old mics, these old blue Yeti mics, which still work very good, and I'll still use them for voiceover and things like that. And so once I started to use these mics, I essentially I took them off the base here, and I would hold them. I would just hold them and record into them. And while I was sitting, it was kind of awkward to hold this kind of thing. It's not the lightest thing, and it's a little weird. But the sound improved, right? Which was great, which is kind of the thing I was going for. And so I was comfortable with that for a while because, like I said, this was the beginning. This is still the beginning of the journey. And so eventually I converted my living room into somewhat of a studio, into my corner, because the whole goal was to get to video. And as you're watching right now, thank God I've made it there. And so the journey still goes on. So as I wanted to evolve, though, into video, I went through a series of technical issues, you can say, with trying to get this thing hooked up to that, which is my GoPro Hero 7. Since this technology is relatively old, I've had these for about 7 or 6 years, and getting this thing hooked up to the GoPro has been a journey, let's put it that way. Lots of money wasted and lots of time wasted too. So I guess you could say is that if you have one of these old Yeti mics, don't bother trying to hook it up to your GoPros. It's just not worth the hassle. But there is a lot of good that came from it, because I bought the adapter for the GoPro that allows me to hook up other microphones to it that are more current. See, that was a part of the journey trying to get this to work. So that was going to happen either way. So if you have yourself a GoPro and you want to get better sound, the first thing you want to do is just go and buy the adapter right away that is actually put out by GoPro. And I'm no way sponsoring it. I'm just telling you that if you want to do that, that's going to be par for the course. You have to buy that adapter. So that being said, my home studio that I was working on for a while has went through many stages as well. It was kind of awkward. I was sitting in a corner and everything was bunched up close to me. I'm using my mic stand here, and my camera stand kind of was pushed right up to my face. I'm still working on lighting, as you can see, but just to get the microphone into a good place, I had to stack about 30 DVDs high and rest it onto and rest the mic on top of it, and then take my camera stand at the time, which my GoPro has a case that the original case that comes with it, you can't actually plug anything into it, which is kind of silly. It's just this hard shell of a case you can't plug your microphone into when it's in there. So I had it sitting out loose on top of my camera stand, but I couldn't even sit on the camera stand like that. It wouldn't sit. So I had to get a piece of wood and tape it around and just hope and pray that the camera stays still, because I had to tape it down and hoping nothing fell. So the journey itself is always very interesting, right? And how things evolve. So silly me, I eventually said, you know what, maybe I don't need to put up with this. Let's look online to see if there's anything else I can do. So I found this really cool case that's third party for the GoPro that you could just, it kind of has a hole in the side where you could just slide down the tab on the GoPros there, and then you can plug things in. And so that makes it very convenient. So as I'm sitting here right now talking to you, I have it nice and mounted on my camera stand, which is perfect now. So that brings me to kind of the current situation. It was trying to find a good space to overall do this in. So this is my second bedroom here that I had in my place here. And at first it was just filled with a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't using. It was just kind of like almost a storage room. And I never really thought of anything in this room when I moved in here. I just kind of thought, hey, cool, I got some extra room I can play with, right? And so this turned out so perfectly, because now I have this awesome room that I put work into over the last few weeks of just emptying it all out, completely bare. So it gives me so much room to play with. And on my last video, I had some awesome tips that were sent over to me from my friend Tom Dutta, which is a fellow podcaster. And he's amazing. He had all this knowledge, and he imparted a lot of it onto me, and I'm slowly trying to incorporate it into my videos. And we watched this webinar together, and he reminded me of certain things that I need to look for when I'm recording a video. And so especially, he mentioned the background. Your backgrounds are very important. They recommend that you have a good distance between the camera, you, and behind you, so you don't kind of blend in weirdly to the wall. And so on this video, I'm testing this. This is kind of still a testing phase. It's still part of the journey. So I've evolved, and I bought this table actually that I'm using right now from IKEA, and IKEA just reopened, which is kind of cool. So it was the first time I had to go wait in a line for anything, thank God. I mean, like, occasionally I'll go to a grocery store and maybe wait like 5 minutes to get in, but this was the longest lineup I've stood in as an adult in a long time. It was totally worth it. You know, I was exploring IKEA, trying to find out what was the best desktop for me, and I stumbled across this one. It cost me about $200, but it's very heavy duty, which is cool. Like, if I wanted to, I can put up to 75 kilos on here, which is, never going to need that, but it's still good to know, and it's still part of the journey, right? So now I've got my two Ecto ones here. You know, it's starting to come together, and I'm excited because I just recently ordered my lighting, so I have that coming, which is going to be great. This is going to make this pop more, and eventually I'm going to be thinking about my green screen. So step by step, the show was evolving, and it's been really exciting. So now I want to talk about my editing. That was something I was very nervous for at the start, and I want to encourage you guys to know that there's free software out there. It's called Audacity, and it's excellent. I'm going to put a link down in the bio of this video. It's very self-explanatory as well. It takes a little while to get used to most of the parts of it, but there's some great tutorials on YouTube that you can watch as well. So don't be discouraged. I mean, at first it is freaky. It's like, oh my God, am I going to erase everything I just did? But it's better than the alternative. Like, I was just throwing out podcasts as is at the beginning, not really knowing how to play with it or anything like that, right? And so that now that's happening, I'm getting more comfortable with the program, which is very cool. I'm getting used to now editing videos, because now I'm making video content. So that is my next step. And for that, I'm using DaVinci. Oh my goodness. I will put the link of that in the description as well. It's a free video editing software. It's got a lot of things I don't know what to do with yet, and it got me excited, because then this is another journey to start over from. This is all from scratch, and so this is a journey that I hope to keep evolving in, and I hope to do another video like this in the future to kind of look back and to kind of time capsule this moment of like, oh, this is where I was then, and that's where I'm going to be then. You know, like it's going to blow me away just how much further I've advanced and learned. And I just want to share with people that are thinking of doing this is that if I can do it, you can definitely do this. I mean, it costs a little bit of money if you want to keep going further, but it's worth it, because this has given me such a drive and a passion to do something that I'm passionate about. It gives me a sense of purpose on my days off. So that being said, I mean, that's another part of your journey too. If you want to start this, is try and find a time for you that works for you when it comes to recording. Don't burn yourself out. Find like a day off that you have if that works for you, or maybe you get up from work, if you're not too tired, just record one. It doesn't really matter. Start somewhere. You just need to start. That's the whole point. And then the other things come later. So that being said, I mean, I'm going to actually do a little maybe mini tour of the room, which is kind of bare right now. Literally it's just me and Chuck Norris on the wall over there. And I actually mounted my whiteboard on the wall right behind this as well. So if I ever needed it, that could be my notes. But also now I got this amazing desk. And one thing, of course, I did forget is to grab a pen to play with, because my hands tend to kind of fly all over the place. So keeping centered is also another thing that I'm learning as well. So what I want you to take from this video is that anybody can do this. It's a great outlet. Just start it. Start your journey and start small. You don't have to buy everything all at once. Like I said, use the Anchor FM app or anything else that you find that you feel comfortable with. Just start talking into your phone. Don't worry about editing at first. That's fine. That'll come later. These are all certain steps that you can take eventually. You just need to start the journey. So the next thing I want you to take from it is that there is great free software out there that anybody can use and download very simply. So I mentioned Audacity. The video editing is a little bit more advanced. I mean, it really depends on if you want to jump to that right away. Like for me, I'm dipping my toe in right now. But like I said, the DaVinci, which I will actually put in the description as well. So if you want to check that out, you can too. But just start. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just start, and anybody can do this. And I hope you guys get something from this. Thank you for all who are watching this and have stuck to the end. This has been this week's episode of the Local Anxiety Podcast. It's very simple. It's just a time capsule episode of showing you where I've come so far with my home studio. I hope you guys enjoyed.